So a round of applause again for these cool kids. Isn't the energy infectious here? The kids and us, it's really infectious. Gosh, I wish I'm young again, you know? Look at this. They can all wish, right? It is what it is. We'll move on. So now I invite Kamal Kolappa, who many of you already know, but some of you may not know that he is an NCSSM alumni. Well, what's an event without Kamal speaking? It has to be an event, right? So I invite Kamal Kolappa to share his experiences with NCSSM.
Okay, great. All right, well, good evening, everyone. This has been a fantastic night so far. I was really impressed with the kids that came from science and math. They were very eloquent and certainly have very bright futures ahead of them. I want to say that 20 years ago, I can't believe I'm that old too now, 20 years ago when I was a student at the School of Science and Math, I never envisioned that I would be on stage now talking to a group of esteemed people like yourselves. And I just want to say that it's an absolute honor, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your support for being here tonight. I want to start off by saying how important this night is to me. As the students pointed out, the North Carolina School of Science and Math has supported countless students over the years and has empowered each and every one of us to achieve heights that we never thought were possible, and to push us. And through the efforts of the school, our lives as individuals have been bettered, the lives of those around us, and the lives of our community have gotten that much better. The way that I look at that, it's kind of like the ripples that spread across a lake when a stone is thrown in. So the positive energy of science and math reverberates far and wide from the initial source. When I think about house school, it's a lot different for me, I think, than most. For most people, when high school is over, it's over. You get a job, you have kids, and you kind of close that chapter. But any alumnus of science and math will tell you that it's very different for us. The friendships, the memories, the lessons that we learn, they last a lifetime. I can still remember being one of these guys. The first day we moved into science and math was in the summer of 1997. And I remember the car ride up from Eastern North Carolina with my mom and dad, and it was the longest car ride of my life. Because I remember there was like a cyclone of emotions running through me. I remember on one hand I was sad to leave my friends, my family, my comfort zone, everything that I knew. On another hand, I was anxious about doing well in a new environment. But then, above and beyond those emotions, the best way that I can describe this was it felt electric. It was that feeling of knowing that my entire life was going to change, and it was just so invigorating. So I remember we finally got to science and math. We got out of the car, and it was just like a hotbed of activity. There was parents, families, students unloading, laughing. It was a really neat and nice thing to be part of. So we unloaded everything, and inevitably my parents would have to leave me behind. And as I kind of predicted, my mom started to tear up a little bit. Her eyes started to get misty. And for anyone that knows my dad, he's not really the huggy, feely, affectionate type. But even he said, well, son, if you want us to stick around a little bit longer, maybe we can have dinner. Even he really didn't want to let me go. So in that moment in time, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm making a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't be leaving everything I know to come to a school where everything's going to be brand new. And as I had that sort of momentary weakness, I saw something in the periphery of my vision, so I turned around, and it was a group of girls. And I will tell you, because my wife's not here, they were very pretty. And so when I saw that, I looked at my parents and I said, guys, I think I'm going to be just fine. I actually think I said, don't need to leave because the traffic's going to be bad. So, that was the start of a new chapter in my life. And as these students pointed out, with science and math, it was unlike anything I had ever experienced. So my old high school, respectfully, was easy. I didn't have to try. Dinner was served to me every day at 5 p.m. Whatever I wanted, my mom got me. The sheets were warm, the laundry was fresh. Everything was at my fingertips. So life was safe, life was predictable. And then I got to science and math. So I remember that first week of school at science and math, I strutted into class like the cock of the walk, thinking everything was going to be fine, everything was going to be easy. And it hit me like a brick wall. I suddenly realized that classes here are hard. I realized that I'm not the smartest guy here. Everyone else is way smarter than me. I realized that no food was getting delivered to me at 5 p.m. every day. I realized that no one was going to come to my bed every night, wish me sweet dreams, or just tell me, hey, it's getting late, you should go to bed. So at the tender age of 15, I realized that I was now the master of my own destiny, which was terrifying, but very, very empowering. And I didn't realize what that empowerment meant until later on in life. And so when I look at that time now, it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes in life, and that quote is that every man/woman, every man is the sculptor and painter of their own life. So when I interpret that, what that means to me is there's no such thing as fate. Life is what we make of it. And I learned that in science and math. I learned that there's no safety net. Everything that we want to achieve in life, you have to fight for. Nothing is going to be handed to you. I also learned in science and math that, each particular problem could have a million different solutions, and you may not be the one to come up with that solution. It might be your friend, it might be your professor, but more importantly, it's someone on your team. So teamwork is so vital. And I also learned in science and math that sometimes you gotta take a risk, like the risk of leaving your family's car when you're starting a new venture at school, because if you don't take that risk in life, sometimes you're not gonna reach the highest heights that you could truly achieve. So my 2 years at science and math, what they did was they pushed me, they challenged me to make sure that I was never complacent, that I was never satisfied with anything less than my best. But more importantly, because of the school's focus on community service, I realized that my life is not my own. Like, I came in as a selfish 15-year-old, and some people may still argue I'm not so generous, but I realized that my life is so much bigger than my day-to-day activities. Everything I do has that ripple effect. So I think science and math taught me to be responsible for what it is that I do and try to do as much as I can for those around me. And I want to stress that, kind of like the students said, that science and math, it's not all books. It's not what it's going to do for your career trajectory. Science and math is about what it does for you as a human being. So even at the age now of 37, I can flash back to every memory in science and math like it happened yesterday. I remember staying up till 4 in the morning trying to finish an anatomy project with all of my classmates. I remember meeting an LGBT student for the first time. So I grew up in Eastern North Carolina in the early 90s. I didn't know anyone who was gay, or at least was openly gay. And I remember at science and math, I had my first encounter with someone, and it was something that I really didn't know how to perceive. I didn't know what to expect, but just like any other friend, over classes, over meals, over conversations, I came to realize that someone who's gay is pretty much exactly like me. We all have the same drives and desires. And I think that form of experience taught me later in life that Fear of homosexuality, it's something that rankles in me personally because I had that interpersonal experience in science and math. I also remember at Science and Math, Science Olympiad, an impossible situation where we worked together as a team to come up with a solution. And then I remember our hall trips to the local Chinese buffet. So our objective was to eat as much as humanly possible without getting sick. And I'll tell you, for a skinny dude, I logged 22 trips to that place. And as a cardiologist, it probably wasn't the right move, but I still remember that very fondly. And the final memory I have of science and math was my day of graduation. I remember feeling very similar to how I felt going in. I was excited about going to college at Duke, but I was sad about leaving my friends. And the nice thing about science and math is the school, it's in your blood. You never truly leave. So I think it gave me solace on that day of graduation. And I'll tell you that every success that I've had in life, it's no exaggeration for me to say that science and math is not a part of everything. And I think science and math takes students, takes human beings, and it helps us become the best version of ourselves. And that, in turn, spreads far and wide. So I think, succinctly, if I just had to boil it down to one thing, I would say science and math is a school that I love. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for helping me to preserve its legacy. Thank you very much.